It's okay if you look at yourself, just to
Okay.
see how pretty you look. You look good.
Yeah.
You're a pretty kid.
That's me.
Hello, and welcome back to What's the Safe Word? I'm Bolt, and this is
NIGHTCAT.
He's my special guest. You can kind of tell he's probably not as much human, more cat, meow. That's the good pussy.
Say that to all the boys?
I do. And today's episode, we're going to talk about Furry Fandom 101.
History.
The history of furries. Art in the furry fandom community is actually really important.
It helps us visualize how we want to see ourselves. It's also the cheapest way of expressing yourself without having to go through and buy all of this.
And that stuff actually goes back all the way probably to ancient Egypt.
Yeah, if you look back, a lot of the gods and pharaohs and stuff definitely worshipped animals, and so they made them into, or viewed them as gods. So you get a lot of that in the artwork from that.
Yeah. I mean, Anubis probably gave someone a boner. I'm just gonna say. Fast forward all the way to modern days, because this, as a fursuit community, as more of the dress-up culture, I mean, is that okay to say?
Oh, yeah.
Sometime in the 1980s, there was a science fiction convention where a magazine called the Albedo Anthropomorphics was published, and it had a bunch of anthropomorphic animals in it, and it started a little discussion group, and that discussion group later grew at another convention, and it just snowballed into this, like, wow, these characters are really cool. I really dig these. I identify with these guys.
Yeah, a lot of it comes from that, but there was also, like, in the 80s for our generation that boomed in the furry community, we had stories. A lot of writings. Watership Down was a big one. We were required to read in school. It was kind of like the beginnings for furry for a lot of us. Also, the Redwall series, for me personally, was super big. I could not read enough of those. It was before, like, I knew what it was at all. We're talking like 85, 86, and then into the 90s. I just loved these books. I just loved the characters that were in them. It just spoke to me.
Did you ever identify with any of the characters in Robin Hood?
Yeah, Robin Hood, Disney Robin Hood was a big one for me as well. Also, from our generation, a lot of that came out of Robin Hood. Disney was really good at anthropomizing the animal kingdom and bringing them to life in a way that really connected with a lot of us. And I think, looking back on it, the furry fandom is kind of a whole bunch of us that are adults now that just never gave up part of us that was the kid aspect of life.
I dig that. I mean, I haven't given up cartoons, and I kind of identify as a tiger. And I have a Stitch onesie. I should put that on. Get back here.
Ta-da!
I mean, this is probably where a lot of people got into the furriness.
Yeah.
Animated cartoons.
It's a fairly new community when you look at it compared to some of the other communities that have been out there for a while.
And it doesn't really have a concise history.
We all kind of came to the same point through different paths in life that have brought us all to this. And there are people still discovering it today, like in their adulthoods, that are like, hey, I kind of like this. Where some of us found it much earlier. I was 16 or 17 when I got the full aspect of what furry was. I was like, whoa! Wow! There's some interesting people out there in this world. I want to be that guy.
I kind of want to put this hood back up. It's so cute.
Bam.
Bam. I'm suddenly Stitch. I'm not going to do his voice because it's embarrassing. Wow, Mika Sabuso.
That was amazing.
It's the reflection of the hood.
Yes,
it's
totally.
just this.
The sun was in your eyes.
Moving forward to today, how could one actually get involved in this community if they really wanted to?
There are other groups out there that are much more organized, and they've all kind of congregated in one area where furries are just still all over the place, but they're all over all social media. So it's super easy to kind of find them versus other groups that may just focus on, like, Facebook.
There are so many conventions you can go to. Like
Further Confusion,
Brain Furrist. These puns are just so good. So do you need a fursuit to be part of the furry community?
No, actually you don't. And a lot of people feel that you have to have a fursuit to be in the fandom, where actually some people don't even find fursuits at all attractive or even in what they view the fandom to be. The whole fursuiting thing is you've got like the full fursuit, which is head to toe body, big giant cuddly suit. Then you also have what you consider like a partial, so you have just the head, sometimes the hands and the feet. Mine suit kind of goes into the partial because all I have is just the head, the body, spandex. That's what I find hot in the fandom. So it's kind of like this big giant mashup of like, what do I have to do to be in the fandom? And you really don't have to do anything. You just go, have fun, meet some people, explore, maybe find some new kinks of cream corn you never thought you were into before. Who knows?
Oh yeah, opening that can, just boner. When you're first coming into the fur community, do you pick a character or do you just kind of like become a character?
There are different ways of coming into that.
Yeah.
Discovering who you are. For me, like I've always associated with cats. Ever since I was a little kid, I just liked specifically black cats, and from there, like, panthers were my thing. I chose to be a panther and I stuck with that, and that's been my thing since I was 15 or 16. Where other people will change their identity. They'll have multiple suits or different suits and even different names for each one. Really, you can kind of do whatever you want with it. You don't have to pick out an animal, and it doesn't have to be a real animal. We get hybrids all the time, part dragon and part griffin. That's kind of where the artwork kind of comes into play, because you don't have to have the gear or anything. You can have whatever you want drawn up and say, see, this is what I'm talking about, this is me. So tell me about Jeff. What is that?
Speaking about sex and nudity, how does the furry community view sex?
The fandom is kind of split. There's a whole side of the fandom that just likes the cuddly, fun aspect of just dressing up, getting out of their everyday life, and just being a fur for a weekend. And it's for them just solely just that. There is no aspect of sex at all for them. Then there's freaks like me. I really get off to it. And then even inside of that, there's different aspects of what we find hot about it. And so it's different for every single person. Even just my group of friends, we'll all be at the same event and all be getting something different out of it, or find something hot that's different from other people. The furry fandom definitely has some of the most interesting kinks I've ever seen.
That's where Vor came from.
Yeah, Vor's a big one. Well, I wouldn't say it's big, but there's a lot of people. I have several friends who are into Vor.
What is Vor? What is Vor?
Vor is a kink that you either find it hot to be eaten or to eat another person. It's not like cutting up and eating, but that actually may be an aspect of it, but it's like being swallowed whole. You can go through the whole digestive process. It is just really different from person to person. You also get macro, size play, but like to the extreme, big giant furries destroying buildings.
Side niches on the sexual side of it too. Like zoophiles are technically under the furry community.
People that are into zoophilia?
Zoophilia.
Sure. Let's go with it. Are in the fandom, but that doesn't mean that they are exclusively in the fandom. There's an aspect of just a little bit of everything.
How do you explore the sex part of the furry fandom?
How do you go about having sex with other furries? Kind of the easiest is to find a chat forum. Telegram is huge right now for it. A lot of people like to RP roleplay. You text fuck. That's a great way of kind of putting your toe into it. Like, is this really my thing? Also, it's kind of nice because you get to be the person you want to be instead of having to dress up. Fur cons are a great place to kind of hook up. They can kind of be a little intimidating at first because some of these cons are huge. You're talking 3,000-4,000 people showing up for a weekend. So don't be afraid, just ask. You know, you find someone who's a furry, be like, hey,
are you into this?
I'm kind of into diapers. Do you know anyone who's into that? Yeah, there's a whole group right over here. Come meet these people. They're awesome. Network is kind of the easiest thing to do. Internet's your friend. Use it. Find some people. Don't be afraid to say hi. We were all afraid at one point in time when we were like, how this is weird and I'm into this. How are people gonna view me? Don't sweat it as much now. There are a ton of people out there into the same thing you are.
Aww. Look at the message. That's a good intro to the furry fandom and the 101 episode that we wanted to do. So, NIGHTCAT, knowing that we ask all our guests this, what is your safe word?
Madagascar.
Remember to like this video with all your paws, because I know a lot of you are using them to watch this video.
You use your paws to watch?
Yes! Maybe your paws have eyes on them. Furry fandom is a weird thing. Comment down below if you want any of your questions answered in a future episode about furries. We will see you next time on What's a Safe Word. Bye!
Bye!
Man, that's good. We got lots of stuff. Oh my gosh. My Stitch accent is so bad. Don't make me do that again.